What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. It is the 25th day of November, and here we are sitting at about $86.5 thousand with 9 hours and 14 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are at the base of this range. We've had a very epic drop. Started off slowly, very soft shoulder, and then it got a little bit intense here. Kind of a parabolic look, right? Like an inverse parabolic. It's parabolic. It's not inverse parabolic. It's just normally when you think parabolic, you think to the upside, but it's the opposite. It's still parabolic, but just to the downside. Anyways, $86.5 thousand is the price. There is a chance, because of how well structured this is, how parabolic it does look, there is a chance that we do V-shape recover out of here. But if we are to V-shape recover, I'm just going to say something real quick. I think we don't V-shape recover to new all-time highs. Maybe we V-shape recover and we still get to new all-time highs eventually, right? But probably if we V-shape recover, we will stop somewhere around this high at about $107,000 to $110,000, which if we take this all-time high to the low that we just put in, the golden ratio is actually encapsulated by that area, that area is encapsulated by the golden ratio very, very well as well. So it makes a lot of sense that this move, we might find some turbulence up here if we V-shape recover. Now, V-shaped recoveries are hard sometimes to identify because not because of how they recover, but where they recover to. Is this where the start of the V was? Is this where the start of the V was? I doubt that this was the start of the V up there, right? So really, there's a possibility that we could V-shape recover all the way up to about 116, 120K, but I don't see that happening as much. Typically, whenever we get drops that happen like this, especially with this low reading on the stochastics, on the RSI, sorry, and the low reading on the stochastics, typically with these similar low readings, we do consolidate for about a month or two. Month and a half, anything in that time. You guys, it's been 4 days. So if we V-shape recover, I would assume that we stop here and then we probably still consolidate for some time. I highly doubt that we're going to move all the way up here, because if we take out this level, we move up there, we're going to new all-time highs, guys. We're not going to spend much time consolidating at all. And it's not that that can't happen. It's not that that's impossible. It's just that that's statistically unlikely to happen. Typically, when Bitcoin sees drops of this magnitude, we do move sideways for about a month or two. So, in other words, since this drop really happened, that's been the call. That's been the assumption, is that we just move sideways for about a month or two. And then maybe late December, maybe sometime in January, that'll be when we start to recover again, actually start to move higher. Or I'm a little bit more accepting now of, I'm probably like 50-50, where here I was probably like 80% convinced that this is what we would do. Now I'm like 50-50 because I really could see a V-shaped recovery here. It'd have to happen in a short amount of time. That as the days go on, the longer we stay here, the less likely this V-shaped recovery is. V-shaped recoveries are immediate, right? Here you had a V-shaped recovery. It was rather immediate. Here you only hung out at these lows for like 2 days and then you pumped, right? V-shaped recovery here, once you had your low, it was just up, up, up afterwards. And maybe that's not a proper V, but just from here to here, this little part is a V, right here. Right? It's like a V-shaped recovery. And you went just above where the V started, right? V-shaped recovery here, where did you go? You went just above where the V started, then you consolidated, then you moved up higher. But this V-shaped recovery was rather immediate. You only hung out down here for like 3 days. So again, if this is to be a V-shaped recovery, I suppose we're off to the right start. We've got a bunch of green days so far. Today can be a red day, that's fine, but we need to consistently be moving up higher, something like that, right? So if it is a V-shaped recovery, we'd likely either by the end of the month or sometime in the very beginning of December be back above $100,000, if it is. And I give it more of an acknowledgement that it could be a V-shaped recovery because of this parabolic look. Whenever you have these parabolic looks, whether it's to the upside or to the downside, typically these kind of parabolic moves up are met with a blow off top. Same thing with the parabolic move down, it's met with the V-shaped recovery. It's the same thing. Blow off top, V-shaped recovery, it's the same thing, but they typically come for parabolic moves. This structure is what makes me think, okay, I believe in it a little bit more. I didn't believe in it as much because I think a lot of people, everybody who's still bullish, is calling for a V-shaped recovery. But maybe it is something that's kind of in between, where we will get a V-shaped recovery, but it'll be less significant than people are assuming it will be. We'll probably stop below 110K or somewhere thereabouts. With that being said, though, since July, Bitcoin has had a flirtationship with its 786 area. Now, not all the time, but let me just show you, right? Let's look at this real quick. Hold on. We take a high here to a low here, and where did you go? Okay, that was actually the golden ratio. That wasn't the 786, my bad. For some reason, I thought you did go to the 786 there. If we take a high here to a low here, we did stop at the 786 here. I remember, and I'm not finding all the examples, but we're on the daily time frame. Maybe I need to be on the 4-hour time frame. I remember there being a multitude of times where we actually interacted with the 786, both as support and resistance back here. But I'm not going to spend all the time to go on the 4-hour and go through that now. I want to make this quick. It's already taking longer than I thought it would. You know, here I guess you just went right up to your golden ratio, not the 786. There was, why am I missing? What am I missing? What am I forgetting here? There were some where we interact with the 786, right? Right here, you were in the 786, 886 area. There's more examples than I'm giving you. Trust me when I tell you. There was a whole like month here where we identified multiple, like several 786 interactions in a row, and there's been a few here as well. I can't remember where the next one is. Let's see. Let's look at this. From a low to a high here, low to a high here, you bounced right off the 786 right there. You back checked the 786 for resistance here. All I'm trying to say by this is if we did go above 110K, right here at 109.8K, if we went above there, the 786 might provide resistance or the 886 might provide resistance, and in which case we could see a V-shaped recovery all the way up here. But I just don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be that easy. I hope it is. I hope that it's the middle of December. It's about like half a month from now, and we're all the way up at 114, 120K. I hope I'm wrong, but I would more expect with this kind of a drop, with these kind of a readings on the RSI and the stochastics, what we normally see is we just move sideways for about a month or two. So every pump gets dumped into, every dump gets pumped into, and that's just what we do probably until the end of December, if not sometime in early January, and then we start to move higher. That's the thought. But let's get into the short-term stuff. We'll go from there. I just wanted to with that introduction, I wanted to explain why I believe in a V-shaped recovery a little bit more now, and it's primarily because of this structure, okay? And we're doing it so far. So far, it looks like we are doing it right now. If we keep this up, even if we close here, as long as tomorrow's up, as long as we're just slowly but surely moving our way up, that is a V-shaped recovery. Okay. Typically, not always, but it is kind of uncommon to see that this leg is faster in a V-shaped recovery. Typically, it's this leg, not this leg, that's faster, right? The leg down is typically slower than the leg up. Even if the leg down is fast, the leg up is typically faster. Typically, doesn't mean it has to be. Watch it take twice as much time. That's okay, but just something else that kind of marks a V-shaped recovery is that this part is typically faster. It's like a W pattern. Typically, this leg is faster than this leg. Okay. Anyways, looking at the 1-hour time frame here, zooming in. The RSI rejected the overbought zone. We have lower lows and lower highs. Looking like we want to move down. We probably do move down a little bit more. 86.4K. Man, all this talking that I've done, we've already dropped like 0.5%. Low here to a high here. Below the 236, yes, we likely find support somewhere around 85.8K to 83.8K. Somewhere in that range. Maybe 83.2K. We could go all the way back down to 83.2K and it's fine, but maybe we do find support here at 85.8K. Maybe we find support somewhere around here. Prior support here, still holding a higher low. Prior resistance right here, somewhere between 85.8 and 85.2, somewhere in there maybe. And if we go lower, 83.8, 83.2 awaits to find support as well, okay? MACD, looking to get a bounce off the zero. Will you get it? I don't know. I mean, you had a bounce here and now you're back down. I would think that you cross. You're building bearish momentum here. Where here, when you were bouncing, you kind of decayed in bearish momentum. Here, you're building bearish momentum. So I think we will cross. I think we do go lower. The stochastic suggests it. The RSI suggests it. And the MACD is also suggesting it. The 4-hour MACD is looking to cross above the zero here. Maybe we get a little touch here on these two oscillators, and then we rally up above the zero. That's nice. Stochastics are resetting, which is also nice. We've actually pulled back a good bit, and all we've got is higher lows, so that's good stuff. Finding support down at the oversold zone is typically what we do, and then we'll move up, so a little bit lower, and then some upside. Again, if we take out this low, it's not the end of the world. It's totally fine. We can find support at 83.8K, 83.2K. That's fine. The RSI does, at the moment, have lower lows in the RSI there, low here, lower low there, while providing higher lows in the price. So that is hidden bullish divergence. But let's just see how this plays out, right? It's only hidden by bullish divergence as long as we're getting 4-hour time frames to close above here. If the next 4-hour time frame closes below there, it's no longer hidden bullish divergence, and maybe it's a rejection off the 60, in which we do come back down a little bit. It's very common to go between the 60 and the 40, kind of ping pong between there, okay? Although I'm not really seeing any examples of it here. Let's just see. Something kind of like that, but that's a little bit raised. Something like this, 40, 60, but then you broke. Yeah, we're not really getting any examples of that. Maybe we don't, but still we could bounce right up the 40, or we could even go lower, down to the oversold zone to bounce as well. I don't think that we go below this low, but something else that we should talk about that we haven't talked about is that we could go below this low. And even if we do, Bitcoin is not dead. It is not blowing up. It's not going to zero. Even if it goes here. Even if we see a lower low. I don't think that we will, but what a perfect way to start a move to recover. We see a lower low, we make people panic, we break 80K, and then we move up higher. Wouldn't that just be awesome? We'd probably form some severe bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame as well. And on the daily time frame, I would bet. But the 4-hour and the 1-hour do make me think we go lower than we are now. I'm not really seeing that we go below this low. I'm just thinking that we do go lower. And it might make sense that today we close below 84.7K. I mean, that is a possibility. We could go down right as low as 83.2K. That was the lowest price we've talked about, low to high. You could even go lower. 83.2. I guess the lowest price we talked about was below this low, right? Below 80K. But as far as like Fibonacci considerations go, something around 83.8 to 83.2 could happen. And if we close down there by the end of today, we will have bullish divergence on our RSI. We'll have a higher low, and then we'll have a lower low on a closing basis here. We probably also get bullish divergence on the MACD and the stochastics as well. So all indicators on the daily time frame would be repping bullish divergence. I mean, that would be okay with me. Don't be afraid of the downside. And if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, great. The 1-hour time frame was lying to me, or I misinterpreted it, whatever. The 4-hour, same thing, and maybe we bounce here and start to recover. That's great. But at this point in time, I am very much considering that we will go probably below 85K. We probably do. And we're at 86.6K now. So close down there, get some bullish divergence, and then move up. That does, in my opinion, that hurts the idea that we have a V-shaped recovery, right? Because that's just that doesn't make sense to me. Like, you're going to get a bearish engulfing candle, and this is a V-shaped recovery. It can happen. It's just weird, right? And then in which case, that might up the chances again that we just kind of consolidate and move sideways. Do be open-minded to seeing lower prices. Because the last handful of times, I want to say it's like the last 5 times in a row that we've been down to this level or lower in the RSI, typically wherever the price is, not typically, every single time, wherever the price is, we did go lower in the coming days or weeks ahead, right? We were at the low point. When we went lower, it wasn't that far away. We're at like the low area, but we still went lower. And this is part of that consolidation for a month or two that I was talking about. We just kind of are figuring things out for about a month or so. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I think retrospectively, maybe it would be a more obvious call to, before we call for higher prices at all, to expect a lower low. Because that's what we've seen every other time. And I want to do that real quick. I just want to go over that one more time just to show you guys what I'm talking about here. When we got this low in the RSI. And let's just put all these on here. This is the first time. We're not going to put it here, because this was like the first time that you've been down at this level in a long time. You see, the last time was over here. We're not going to do this. This is all kind of part of the same move, in my opinion. I mean, maybe we could do that there, but I don't think so. Let's do that. Let's do that. We'll do this one, and then we'll do this one, sure. Maybe something that's a little bit lower. Maybe we'll do this one and this one, because that one's not quite that low. It's almost there, but it's not quite low enough. I want something that's like directly interacting with this level. And then again here, probably use the first one, not the second one actually. So looking at this here, whenever the RSI found support at the same levels that it's finding support now, did we go lower? Yes. Did we go lower here? Yes. Oh, so slightly. Oh, so slightly. Yes, but we did. Did we go lower here? Yes, we did. Oh, so slightly, but we did. Here, did we go lower? We were at a low point here, but we did go lower. And we even went lower after that, right? And then if you want to say that this is a different example than this and that this deserves its own line, okay, that's fine. Here, this one, we did not go lower, but we still went very near the low about a month later. And it was about another month before we actually broke out. So still a lot of stagnation. That's all I'm trying to talk about. But I think that one is kind of a moot point. I think this is the actual starting point in my opinion. But maybe not. You got overbought. Maybe that one is one to consider. It can happen. I'm not saying that we can't move higher without seeing a lower low. I'm just saying statistically speaking, when we see these readings, it's not uncommon to move sideways, and in that sidewaysness we see a slightly lower low, or even a couple slightly lower lows, and then we make our move higher, right? Anyways, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Expecting big things out of Bitcoin over the coming months, but maybe over the next month, like the next month single, we're probably just going to be boring and range bound. That's the expectation. Or if we get this V-shaped recovery going, that'd be nice. But we got to make moves soon, right? We can't just do this and then and now we're V-shaped recovery. I mean, it can happen too, but that's just less likely. If you want a V-shaped recovery, it has to be immediate. And I think if the short-term timeframes are telling us the truth, we're not going to see that. Wow, I made a whole speech in the beginning talking about why I'm more open to a V-shaped recovery, and only to find that I think the chances are diminished. If we go down here, the chances are probably diminished because we'll be down here for a second. Doesn't mean we can't move up. It's just it won't be as fast as we were hoping with the V-shaped recovery. Anyways, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.